So there's a few more bits that we just need to do for the system setup. Things like setting up the numbering, some of the other options, the VAT, the emails and the map preferences. We do those from the setup menu under the system setup, and that gives us a sequence of tabs here we'll work through. The first one is numbering. We get the option to put in a last quote, invoice or job number. So if you've already got an existing system that's sequentially numbering for you, you can put the last number that was used in here. This system will just continue from there. Also, if you've got pre-printed pads that you're using that have got numbers on, you can put the last number that was used on here and you can continue to go from there. So it should be a seamless sort of transition over. Now the system is defaulted to automatically increase the quote number and invoice number as you create new ones within the software. If you do want to continue to use existing written notepads and invoice pads, you can untick these boxes here, and then when you create a quote or an invoice, it will ask you to put in the number manually into those boxes rather than automatically populating that field from here. So the next one that we need to move along to is domestic options. A few to work through in here and consider. The first one at the top is allow the amendment of last job date detail. So where that's important is if you've imported client data, it might be that although you've got job details, you've not actually got anything that's specifically marked as the last job that was done for the client. So you've not been able to populate the last job date field within the GetBookedUP software. So what that means is when you open the client's record, the last job date box is going to be empty. Now, if you were to look manually at the record, you'd be able to identify which is the last job and manually add that into the box if this is ticked here. So the reason you might want to untick this is to stop you accidentally changing that. But for most users, it's best if this is left ticked, and then if you've done any manual import into the GetBookedUP software, you can manually amend the last job date in the field. The next one on here is manual pricing. That's set up as default to automatically calculate prices from the dimensions that you put in. So elsewhere you'll see the price setup tables, and by leaving this box unticked, that tells the system that when you put dimensions in, you want to calculate the price from the pricing table that you've set up. Now if you don't want to do that, you can put a tick in this box here, and the system will sit and wait for you to manually put the price in when you put the item code in, so it won't calculate the price for you. So decide now whether or not you want the system to default to manual pricing and you're going to type the price in, or automatic pricing and you're going to let the system work it out for you. The next one that's in this Professional Plus edition is the require the family name. The way that works is a tick in the box means that when you enter a new record, you can't move away from the front client screen until you've entered a family name into the family name box. The reason that's in there is, again, users suggested that it was made a compulsory field. Some users did want it to be compulsory, some users didn't. So that's just the option that you can set in there, that the family name is required or not before you can move further through the system. The next one that's applicable in this Professional Plus edition is the system start date. The daily marketing activities that are produced by the system will only start after the date that you set in this field here, and you'll see what that means by the daily marketing activities in one of the other videos, so you may need to just come back to this and adjust this date here at a later date. The next one on here is the unit of length, and that's the default units that the system will use for calculating prices. So you can set this as meters, yards or feet just from the drop down list. If this is set at meters, the system thinks that the price that you're putting in is for 1 square meter. Now, what we've done also is put a clever little facility in the system that if you're speaking to a client on the phone and you're entering the dimensions for the item, if the client gives you the dimensions in feet, so they say it's a 12 foot by 13 foot room, the system's clever enough, you can put 12 by 13 and then tick a little box that says feet, and the system will automatically calculate it back to the meters for you. So this really in here is just for you to tell the system what your preferred units are. The next one in here is the number of extras, and what that determines is the number of columns that are displayed and how many extra prices you can put in for each item that you're cleaning. So what we call extras are things like anti-allergen treatments, deodorized flame retardant treatments. So as well as putting in a price for the standard clean only, clean and protect, healthy home, or whatever options that you've put in, On the end of those you can put your extra items, and this just determines how many of those columns display in the client record. So the next one we need to look at is VAT, which is the next tab along. In here, you'll notice that it's marked as the prices include VAT. It's ticked by default and you can't change it. And the reason for that is the VAT office, Customs and Excise, actually prefer you to quote prices including VAT to domestic customers. So the system defaults to calculate a price including VAT at the percentage that you put in this first box here. So when you first start the system, what you need to do is check that the VAT rate that's shown here is what is the current rate for the VAT. Now we've got the option in here as well of when the VAT is going to change. Obviously Customs and Excise tell you can put the new VAT rate in this box here, and the date it's going to change in this box here, and then on that date that will change the rate of VAT and the element of VAT that's within the prices that have been quoted on the system. The next one that we need to look at is the emails, and you need to set up the information that's in these fields here. Now this information is you will get from your internet service provider, so whoever's providing your emails you'll be able to get all this information from. Just call them up, call up their helpline and tell them that you're setting up a third-party piece of software that is sending emails out, and just explain this information that you need, the SMTP server name, etc., and they should be able to help and talk you through these settings here. Now this won't work with most of the free online email providers, so people like Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo and some other online free emails. This system just doesn't work with it, and most of the systems, it's not that this system doesn't work with it, it's that those systems won't allow third-party software to use their emails and stuff. Once you've got all that information set up in here, there's a facility to click test email, and that will send a test email to your own email that's in here to make sure that everything's working properly. Now one of the things that is in here that can be adjusted is email send interval, email batch size and email batch interval. Now we recommend you leave these as they are set when you download, and what this is used in is the easy email facility. So when you're sending bulk emails from the system, this series of numbers here breaks them down into smaller batches and intervals between those batches, so that you're not blocked, or hopefully you're not blocked by your internet service provider. If you adjust these, you may well be, and adjust them down so it sends more out quicker, you may well be blocked by your internet service provider, because they will see lots of emails coming out, particularly if it's the same email with just some small amount of content change between them. So we recommend you leave those at the settings that are here. We found that they seem to work for now, but again, you just need to be aware that your internet service provider might not like the fact that you're sending lots of emails. So the next tab along is the web address, and that's the map that the system uses when you click the view address on map within the client's record. This defaults to use Google or Street Maps. If you know the web address of any other map provider that you can enter information into, you can pop that in here and the system will automatically go to that webbing system, but we recommend you use Google or Street Maps. We know they work with this. If you do enter your own details in here, you can click test, and that will test to make sure that it's actually going to work from within the client's record. So that's it. That's the other remaining system setup that you need to do in terms of numbering, VAT and things. If you have any queries at all, please just give us a call.